Erev Shavuos, Erev Rosh Hashanah. Sorry. Tafshin Pei Aleph is coming, and they should help to be a Shnas Hatzlacha, Gula for everybody. Yana Apkotin, Yana Klolim. The Rambam of today speaks about one of the biggest sugis in Shas, and that is the sugya of Tanai Bnei Gad Bnei Ruvain. And although it's very hard to do justice to such a big sugya, but we will try to at least touch on some of the main topics that come up. So in Perek Vav, and Halacha Aleph, Rambam mentions that there are 4 Tanoim to a Tanai. 4 Tanoim to a Tanai. Yeah, it's a good line. Hamakadesh al Tanai, in the Skayim at Tanai Mekudeshes, in Lein Skayim, Ain't Mekudeshes. Bein Shahay at Tanai, Ben Ish, Ben Shem Ben Isha, V'chol Tanai, Sheba Elam, Ben Mekudushin, Ben Begershim, Ben Mekhamemke, Ben Beshadim, Moment. Tzarech Li is B'tnai Abba Advar. That's the 4 conditions in order to be able. 4 things have to happen at night in order to be tonight. Now you're learning Rambam, you'll go through the 4 conditions on its own, but one of them is that the Tanai has to be done by Kveilus of Tanai and Henkaid and Lalav. That's the second one, and Tanai Kaid and Lamaisa. And it has to be something that's shaykh to happen. Those are the 4 tonight. So the shaila is: does this apply only to a git in the kedushin, as the Rambam mentions here, talking about here, or is it a halacha all over? There's even an opinion that it doesn't apply anywhere. Halacha, but the Rambam definitely holds it applies. Halacha Yudalid, the Rambam says. Yes, mixes ge'enim achreinim she'amru she'ein adam tzarech lichbul t'noi ela b'git mekadosh melav. That there are those ge'enim achreinim, the latter of ge'enim, that say that only git mekadosh. And by the way, the same thing he brings in Hilchas Mechira or Schir Matana. He says Rabbi say. So I don't know why he refers like this or refers like that, but that's not I'll leave that to those who are historians and know more than that, much more. To me, just Gainim, I have no idea of dates. I just know that there was Gainim and there's Shainim. Anyway, he says, now, when it comes to Dinah Mama, you don't have to be careful with that. Here Rambam refutes that idea and gives a reason why. Shekvelos Hatnai and Sha'or Harbar Dvar Mitanoi B'nei God B'nei Ruvain Lomdu. Where did they learn it from? The Gemara says in Kedushin. They learn from B'nei God B'nei Ruvain. Lomdu Eisen Chacham. It says in Pasuk there that Moshe Rabbeinu made the Tanai with him. They said if Yavru B'nei God, B'im Lo Yavru. He made a Tanai Kafel. Now here the Rambam says a very interesting line. Utnai Zeh Loy Be Gittin Loy Be Kedushin. This Tanai was not in Gittin, not in Kedushin. And there it ends up because the earlier Gainim passed by, which they mentioned who they are, the Bahag, others. Now the Ravid, right away, is that he argues on this. He says, now it's interesting. In the order of the Rambam, Sefer Mishpatim is much later. Yet he writes Kasavnu. Okay. So what bothered me when I read this Rambam is he's trying to refute the idea that by Dinah Mamadis there is no Kveilus of Tanai, which is the opinion of the Gainim Achreinim. And how does he refute it? By saying that the Tanai of B'nei God B'nei Ruvain wasn't in Git Kedushin. Why doesn't he say a lot better? The Tanai of B'nei God B'nei Ruvain was in Mamadis. That's exactly what we're talking about. They were talking about Mamad. So, I mean, it's strange. Now, you'll tell me he was made. That's the deal. Deal is not where it is. Where it's not. The issue is with Mammon. And here he has a clear case of Mammon. So you should have said, how you big moment. So it really bothers me. Okay, let's go further. In Hilchis Chiyamaton, where he does talk about it, so he says, Kvar Biarnu, the Kolt's Noim, Sheesh, Matana, Isabemeka, Memka, has to have my Koffel, and Kaidin Lalab, my Kaidin Lamaisa, my Shev Shalakaime. And if it's missing, as if there's no Tanai at all. Then he goes on to say, and then he brings Rabbi Say Hayru, as I said before, She'ain Sarach Lichko at night. There's no proof of that idea. And then he goes on. The other Ravid, finally, as we said, he writes Kvar Kasavnu. This is where he writes it. He says it makes a lot of sense. He says, it's the expression from the Gemara. He says, there's a real big reason that, and his time is very strong. A guy sells his karka, and he says, I don't want to sell it unless you do this and this. And when we say no, how can you do that? In other words, his time is Tanai is logical. Tanai is a logical thing. I am telling you, I'm only selling it as a condition. I don't need no dinner to tell me Tanai. When do we need a dinner? By getting the condition. That since he was not and died to the garish or the kadosh, he doesn't stop zog zachen. And so when he makes it, we care about das. Richak das ain't nine mile by l'rachik l'kar. There's a swear that there's a chiddush in tonight, unless you strengthen it, you say it in a certain way. So the Ravid is very interesting. He basically makes Tanaim as a simple logical thing, and therefore, you need a reason not to say that a Tanai works, and so therefore you have to come on to these only in places where the Maisa is so powerful. Okay, I think this is a discussion for itself. Nemesis, there's a lot to say about this, but it's not the place for it right now. At least not in this discussion. But Bnei Yeshua and Kiddushin, where the Gemara talks about it, where Ameya says he learned from tonight Bnei God Bnei Ruvain, he has a bigger question. He says, well, now he holds the opposite of the Ravid, and Emes is that is a prevalent way of thinking. That and the Rambam seems to hold like that Tanai be'etzim should not work at all. The whole Kiddush of Tanai, I go do an action and then I want to change it with a Tanai. How do you do that? That's what the Bnei Yeshua holds. And therefore he holds, how do you learn Tanaim to get the Kiddushin? How do a Tanai works at all by getting the Kiddushin? From the God Merivin. We have a rule, Isura Mimimayna Lo Yalfina. And the Gemara clearly states in Ishus, in Sech Ishus, the Lamed the Vav base. The Gemara says, how do we learn Saita? Because it's Isura, there's Mimimayna. So you could say that Git and Kiddush is also Isura is Mimimayna, because there's financial dealings that come out of a get, there's financial dealings that come out of a Kiddushin. But that itself, he says, a problem. Who said that you can compare Memaina Greda to Memaina of Tanai B'nai, the Isura, the Israel Memaina, to a Tanai of Memaina Greda, which is Memaina of Tanai B'nai God B'nai Ruvain. And there the Gemara seems to indicate that it's Memaina. So he comes up with this interesting teretz, which is a logical story, that B'nai God B'nai Ruvain is also Memaina the Izbei Yisura. Why? Because there are many mitzvahs that are Tluyim Chalukas Aretz. The Kurim, Truma, Meiser. That happens after Yerush Yeshiva. So let's get to his question and his answer. His question is, how do you learn Tanoim by getting the Kiddushin from B'nai God B'nai Ruvain, which is Memaina? And what's his answer? That you're learning get the condition that's Isur she has reminder from a minus Shizra Isur. So first of all, I don't know who says the minus Shizra Isur and Isur is the same league. You know, the Ikka this is Isur, the Ikka this is the minor. Who says you can learn? Who says in the rule of if you want to say that I can learn from that I mean the Gemara does say Isur the Isba Mamayna. But who said Mamayna is Isur works that way. I mean, you know, in other words, it's a Chiddush Kavart that he's saying. But that would be the Mahalach that he says. Okay. And the other problem is that the Isura of the Islam and Maina is not now. It's a Lachirush Yeshiva. Now we're dealing with Maina only, according to this Mahalach. So I want to suggest perhaps on a very interesting halacha. In Hilchos Shchenim, the Rambam paskins, Ha'achim shecholku, Perek Beis, V'asu b'nein goyro, Kiven she'ola a-goyro le'echad mehem, Konu kulam, Ba'aniyah she'nasis lehem, She'shamu zeh, mizeh, that they listen to each other, L'davar she'skimu Allah, Goma kolechem and chavei. And the Ravid argues, where does the Gemara, where does that halacha come from? Gemara above Basra. Gemara says, Tanya Rabbi Yesi ein achim shechol kukim she'olah goyru le'echad mehem konu kula. My time, Rabbi Elazar ketchilas Eretz Yisrael. Ma tchila begoyru afkam begoyru. Okay, now I don't. Is this halacha only in Eretz Yisrael, or once it's in Eretz Yisrael, it applies to other places? I've got that. There was also a Kalfi. There was Urim V'Tumim. So there was other. The Kalfi spoke, and the Urim V'Tumim showed. Rabbi Ashi, no, here is Bahu Nuan and no the Kotzais Ladadi Gamre Maknadadi, which is what the Rambam says. That so how do you learn Pshat in this Gemara? Is the Gemara saying that there's still an Indian of Gairul, or no? The Gairul is just a means to give out your Gemira's das. It's only a means. It is your Hana. Rashbam says clearly that the Gairul is the Makna. Navas, it's a Richas de Rashbam. This is very often Meirich. There was Kalfi and Urim V'Tumim that validated the Gairul. Here the Hana validates the Gairul. It's only a matter of Smichas Das on the Gairul, but the Gairul itself is the Maisikin. And the Ram and Shikmega Betzis argues and says, no, it's a new thing. Shaila, what the Ram holds, I don't know. Okay, so again, here we have, according to the Rashbam, that when it comes to Kinyan Eretz Yisrael, we have a new Kinyan. Not only in the time when they Chalukas Aretz, it's a new Kinyan in Eretz Yisrael called Geiru. That's Pshat Chilas Eretz Yisrael. It would be only a din Eretz Yisrael. I don't know. It doesn't say in Halacha that it's limited to Eretz Yisrael, but Chayeshat should come out unless you say that once it's already established in Eretz Yisrael, the Chachamim applied it all over. Ulay. I want to just say that this is a you never find anything like that. But for a Gairul, you're kind of something, at least going to the Rashbam. So Ulay Yeshleima. The Rebbe, the Kutta Sichas Chelik in Gimel, Parshas Masay. I think everybody just learned it in the maslul of learning the Likkutei Sichos every week. He says that Chalukas Eretz Yisrael, that was a lot of words there are, is al pi ha'geirul, because in Yom Shel Eretz Yisrael is the Indian of Tamid Ein Havai Lekecha B'Marei Shoshana V'Arach, which is Negei to Rosh Hashanah Taka coming up. Sheba Meir Elikusa Yizbar V'Gila. Eretz Yisrael is a different type of land. It's not an Olam Hazadik land. That's the part of it. And therefore, it has to come l'mayla me'avedas adam, and therefore it becomes derech matanim l'mayla. He brings the Gemara in Brachas, shalosh matanis Davish gave, one of them is Eretz Yisrael. So therefore, oifen chalukas haaretz is through a geirul, which is not through logic. That would add spice a lot to what we're going to say, but in halacha, it would seem that there is something special about this chalukas haaretz. So according to this, you can say that geirul is not a kinyan usually, but here, when it comes to Eretz Yisrael, for whatever reason, they never gives a reason, but in Halacha, I don't know how to translate that reason. But the point is, the Torah was mechadish, a new kinyan in Eretz Yisrael. That's not a kinyan. It's a means of getting a matana mamayla. So getting land in Eretz Yisrael needs to be given from above. Or can be given from above. You can transfer it, once you own it, you can transfer it, but it can be given from above. So Kem is arguing that's the chiddush of this Gemara, that through the pasuk, girl, the Torah was mechadish that geirul is shaykh to chalukas haaretz. And therefore it helps even my brothers. But that's the Gemara, kitchilas. Now, what about Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven? So Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven is an interesting thing. Moshe Rabbeinu told them, I'll give it to you, I'll deny it. How do you give it to them? So one of the halachas that we learn from there is that it has to be Tanai Kodim Lamais. So there's the Rambam Shitta here, Perek Vav, Halach and Dalet, that Tanai Kodim Lamais means literally, you have to make the Tanai before you do the Maisa. But if you do the Maisa first, let's say you give the get and then you make it Tanai, it's not going to work. Right? Even Tech Kedibur. That's the Ram. You read it very well. But the Ravid argues, he says that's not how it happened by Bnei Gad and Reuven. There was no Maisa. It was a discussion. It was a talk. So the Ravid, that Tanai Kodim Lamais means in the way I say it, not the way I do it. Because if I did it, that's not what you're learning from Tanai Kodim Lamais. It's made the Getaina. All he did is he told them, Im Yavru, Im Lo Yavru. Reb Chaim, and Kedusha Reb Chaim Alevi says, it's unbelievable. He says, Moshe Rabbeinu by God and Reuven was telling over the Eibush to say. And the Eibush said that he's going to give it to them. And by the Eibush, his dibur is Maisa. So as soon as he said, I'm giving it to him, they were zeich in that chelik. So therefore, it had to be, that's what the Rambam learns. That from that Rambam, as the Tanai Kodim Lamais means actual Maisa. Unbelievable word. Im Yavru, and then the Satan, because they would say the Satan verse, they would have had it before already. So now that's what we learn from Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven. It's very chassidish of it. Kumteis that by Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven was also in the Sinai Mamayla. Without a girl, but it was in the Sinai Mamayla. And if I can't, it had in order, and that makes sense with what we were saying. That in order to be Zeich and Eretz Yisrael, it has to come at Tanul Maila. I say, Ulai, can sagen that Bnei Gad Bnei Reuven is not Mammon. It's not a case of Mammon. It's a case of the Sinai Mamayla. I'm not listening to Mammon, but it's not the Dinei Mammon. You can't call this Dinei Mammon because it's not a regular Kinyan Mammon. It doesn't fit in Kinyan Mammon. And it doesn't fit in the way Mammon is given. It's given a mile, it's all a different type of thing. So in the Rebbe's Lashon, it's not even Elam Hazadik in place. It's all above. But even without just a halachadik Lashon, it's not a Kinyan Mammon. And therefore, the din that Ma'anim Yisur Le'afina won't fit to this. The Gemara Ishus, when we talk about him, Mikalav Shmeihen, Gemen is Masber sein. But that's not, again, not for now. But in the Indian of Tanai God, it's not a moment. It's an Chidush Kenyan that the Chidush of Matanim L'mayla, of getting the Eibush to come Yaakov the Eibush to doing something that the Eibush should give. And that's what it was. It's a tonight. That answers the Ishus question. And that's why the Rambam uses the Lashon Leihoya Begit Kedushin. He doesn't write it was the moment. Because it wasn't the moment. It wasn't Git Kedushin. It wasn't the Git Kedushin, that's all. That's all he wants to say. It's not, it doesn't fit the rule. Don't tell me Git Kedushin. Don't tell me Git Kedushin. Anyway, that would be, I just want to mention, there's a famous Chavis Yor that brings from Tshuvas Ge'ene Kadmoi that Goyrul is Ein Goyrul El B'Yeshamai Shenema Al Pi HaGoyrul Techolek Arts V'Oiver Ala Goyrul Ka'Oiver Ala Seres HaDibros. And he brings rayas to this, how important. And then also is brought down, that I've seen brought down from Tshuvas Ge'enim, that right, Ein Rishus La'odam Yisrael Lavar Ala Goyrul Shein HaGoyrul El B'Yeshamai Shenema Al Pi HaGoyrul Techolek Arts V'Oiver Ala Goyrul Ka'Oiver Ala Seres HaDibros. Same line. The power of the Goyrul is clearly a tzivul ma'ila. So it fits very well what we're saying. And it's not the usual halachas of the moment. It's a new gather. It's the gaya to the moment, and the gaya to the we call lava to shemayim, things like that, in how you express yourself. But to say that you can only learn moment from there, that legabe the din of tanoim, that the Rambam holds this can't, because this is not together a moment, but it's like loy begit no levi kedushin. Naizel loy begit no levi kedushin. Akaponim agut gewen shior aksiv achsim teve shonatevim besuka, and Metzger Hashem we will get together again next year. Gei gesund, tatzlocha rabba.